if the student ID is the first column and name is the second column. If I am writing a name at first and student ID at next, then the data will going to be interchanged. If I am using a drop employee, that employee table will never going to exist in a database. Then again, if you want to have so, then you need to create it again. When the grant is centralized, if it is taken care by centralized object, at the time permission can be easily taken. Hello everybody of home, welcome to one and all. Welcome back to the session 3 of chapter 1 in the unit 3-2 of B.Ca's first semester, subject called Fundamentals of Computers. I'm Rohini TS, Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, first grade college, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. Before getting into our today's session about the SQL commands, we'll just have a quick recap of our previous session. As you all know that in the last session of this chapter, we had a discussion regarding what is SQL. You got to know what is structured query language, and also we had a discussion regarding data types, and also you got to know what are the types of SQL commands we have. So we have DDL, DML, DCL, and also we have a TCL. And in that we had a discussion regarding data definition language. So there you learned regarding what is create command, what is truncate command, and also we had a discussion regarding what is alter, right? And also we got to know what is drop command. In our today's session, we're going to see about this data manipulation language. We know how to define the data. So now we'll see how we are going to manipulate the data by making use of which query or by making use of which command, that I will be discussing. And also we have a data control language, how we are going to control the accessing of data, and also with respect to the transaction control language. Can we do the redo and undo of the transaction of database? That is what TCL or a transaction control language. At last we'll see about the select statement. That's all what data query language. We'll see each kind of SQL commands one by one right now. So first we'll see about this data manipulation language. In short, it is DML. Already we have defined a data, we have a structure, we have a database, we have a table. Now I wanted to do some modification. I wanted to update its content. Then this DML language or a DML or commands will going to help us. Mainly it is used to modify the database. If you wanted to change its content, if you wanted to update the existing content, then we require this data manipulation language, and mainly it is responsible for all the form of changes in the database. Whatever the changes that we are looking for, whether it is related to the table, views or a database, whatever could be the changes that can be done with the help of this DML, and here it is not auto committed. So on its own it is not at all going to save. So we have to save the content if you wanted to do so. Then it means that it can't be permanently save all the changes in the database. So we can roll back. That means I can go back to the previous state. So if we are inserting an element, I can update it, I can delete it. So once it is created, that is not finalized version. That is what not auto committed. On its own, it is not at all going to save. So we have to make it commit. Okay, so what are the commands which we have in this DML array data manipulation language? That includes insert, update and delete. We'll see why this insert command, update command and delete commands are used. So as the name indicates, insert in the sense what? We have a table, we have created a table, I know what are the columns or attributes we have. So then how we are going to fill its row? You just imagine this is a table and it consists of certain columns. For example, if I am considering this as a student table, then here it is going to have a student ID and also we have a name, age and their address. So these are the columns. So once we created a table or once we declare or define a table, this is how it look like. We know what are the columns we have and I know what are the data types we have. Then how we are going to fill the rows, how we are going to fill the data to all these rows, that can be done with the help of this insert command. It's a statement. Mainly it is used to insert a data into the row of a table. So we are going to call that row or as a tuple. We call this as a tuple. To fill the data to the tuple, we are going to use this insert command. Then here we have two ways in order to insert. So first is what? Insert into table name. Insert into where we are inserting the data to the table. I need to specify a name of a table, that is table name, and I need to specify what are the columns we have. Column 1, column 2 up to column n. So what we have in that particular table, what are the number of column we have in that particular table, that I should mention by separating all the columns by using comma. Okay, you need to separate the columns. After that we have to use a word called values. For each column we are giving a value. For example, student ID is a column here, student ID, comma, name, comma, age, comma, address. Then I have to use a word called values. So for that I need to give a value. Then how must be the value? That has to satisfy the data type of a column at the time of its definition. So if I am giving the student ID as a char or varchar, then it can include both numbers as well as alphabets. So for student ID, I can give both like character as well as the numbers. If the age is like only integer, or if it is taking only numbers, then it should not accept, and it will not at all going to accept the characters as a data. So here you should be very cautious regarding the values and column, and whatever the value that we are giving, that should be correspondence to the column. For example, if the student ID is the first column and name is the second column, if I am writing a name at first and student ID at next, then the data will going to be interchanged. If it is of same data type, then no problem, but it is going to take the data in a wrong way. So while you are inserting a data to the database, at that time you should be very cautious regarding the column as well as the value, so that this value 1 should be corresponding to the column 1 data type, this value 2 should be correspondence to this column 2 data type. Okay, same way up to value n. Or else we have one more method that include insert into, we have to give a name of a table, and instead of taking a column name, if I know the column name already, if you know how many columns along with its data type, if you know that, instead of mentioning it by default, we can directly give the values. Insert into table name, then values, value 1, 2, 3 up to value n. That includes what? Up to column n. Okay. All the time the value, the number of values that we are giving should be same as the number of column in a table. Okay. If you are missing any one of the column, that will be null. So these are the two ways. You can see the example here. Insert into FOC. What is the table name here? FOC. And here we have a two columns. One is author and another one is subject. You just imagine I am creating a table called FOC. Table name is FOC. Already we have a two columns in that. One is author and another one is subject. For these two columns, we have to insert two values. Which are those? SONU and FOC. SONU and FOC1. Okay. This is how we are going to insert a value into the table called FOC. What if I wanted to add one more? Again, insert into FOC, author, comma, subject, values, and I have to give one more author name as well as subject name. So here, R.K. Narayan. I am going to write the subject as a English. Within double quotes you have to mention. Then in the second column, R.K. Narayan, then it will become English. Okay. This is one more way of inserting one more row to the table. Okay. That's all regarding what? Insert. What we have next? We have a update command. Already I have some data, but I have made a mistake while giving a data. I wanted to do the changes. At the time, instead of SONO, S-O-N-O-O, instead of double O, I need to give only one O. So, I can do the changes with the help of this update command. So, you can see here, the command is used to update or modify the value of a column in the table. So, by making use of a set command or by making use of a set keyword, we are going to do the alteration. We are updating the value. So, update table name, I should specify a name of a table. To which table we are updating? Set column name is 1 is equal to value 1 up to column name n up to column value n. So, here we are using assignment operator, equal operator we have. So, we are assigning a value to the existing column. So, by making use of that where condition. If I wanted to change the existing content, at that time we are going to use a where condition to make a changes to the particular value. Then here you can see that update students. So here students is the name of a table. What I wanted to update, set username is equal to Sonu where student ID is equal to 3. So here what you have to understand, we have a table called students. In that we have several columns. Amongst that one column is what? Username. Username is one column, and here we also have a student ID. Just imagine 1, 2, 3. Here we have some values, okay, and here username is Sono. You just imagine it was SONO. Now I wanted to make it as SONOO. How can I do that? By making use of this update student set username is equal to Sonu where student ID is 3. So at this point student ID is 3. It was SONO. So after the updation it will become SONOO. Okay, this is how we are going to use the update commands. Mainly you have to use a set and you need to use where condition, because whenever we wanted to make a changes to the particular value or particular column in a table at the time. So here I am making a changes to this column, value of this column. So I need to specify the uniqueness of that particular column, right? That's why I have to take set along with a where condition. Then only we can do the modification to particular column in a table. This is all regarding the update command. Next we'll see about the delete. So before delete, you all know that we had a drop command and also we had a truncate command, correct? So in this, by making use of this drop command, I am just going to delete the existence of the table from the database. That is what drop. If I am using a drop employee, that employee table will never going to exist in a database. Then again if you want to have so, then you need to create it again. In the truncate, if I have a table and if I wanted to erase the content of the table, all the rows of a table should be erased, then I have to use the truncate. Okay. If I wanted to delete a particular row or if I wanted to delete 1 or 2 row from based on certain condition, then we have to use this delete statement or a delete command. It is used to remove 1 or more row from a table. You must know the difference between drop, truncate as well as delete. Fine. So these 3 difference you should know. After that, we'll see what is the syntax. Delete from. From where we are deleting? From table name you have to specify. From where we are deleting? From the table. On basis of what? On basis of the condition. Where? Condition. Fine. We'll see example here. Delete from FOC. I am deleting a content from FOC table. On what condition? Where author name is equal to SONOO. So if you see the previous one, this row, entire row will be deleted. If I am using that delete from FOC, this is student. You just imagine instead of student, you consider this as FOC. And here we have a username, or else let me write it one more. You just imagine here we have a author name. Author name you consider, and here we have a ID. Okay. 1, 2. Author name is Sonu and here book. Okay. Now I wanted to delete the content from this FOC table and author name is Sonu here. We are using the delete command. Entire row will be deleted from the particular table called FOC. For that we are going to have this delete command. So that's all regarding what DML or a data manipulation language. Next we'll see data control language. How we are going to control the accessibility of a data. So mainly it is used to grant and take back the authority from any database user. So here the database administrator is giving a authorization to the database user in order to access the content from database. And also same way we can get it back. That too by making use of what? 2 commands we have. One is grant and another one is revoke. Before that, DCL or a data control language includes the command such as grant and revoke, which mainly deal with the rights permissions and other controls of the database system. Already you know that the advantage of DBMS, it is not at all going to access or it is not at all going to allow the unauthorized access. So if you wanted to access the content, then you should be authenticated user. So that privileges can be given to the database user by making use of this grant and revoke. So here grant is used to give the permission to the database and revoke is used to take the permission back from the database user. First we'll see about the grant command. It grants the permission to the user on database object. This object can be table, database, views, okay. Whatever we wanted to do on the database object, this grant command will going to help us in order to get a permission. After that, it can also be used to assign the access rights to the user. Who all can access? Can it be accessed only by the user? Can it be accessed by the group or by others? So that assignment of accessing right is also going to be given by this grant command, and for every user the permission needs to be specified, what they can access and how they can access. All these content will be given, and when the access is decentralized, permission granting is easier. If it is depending on a particular database administrator, then it may take some time. If it is decentralized, if it is not at all depends on anybody to grant a permission, at the time accessing of a content is easy. But if you wanted to have a confidentiality over the data, if you wanted to make a security, then this grant and revoke will going to be helping us. So here you can see the syntax: grant privilege name. So we are giving a privilege that you have to mention on object name. On what object? You have to mention either table name or database name or view name. That and all become the object name. To whom they are giving a permission, that to the username. What is the name of a user? At the time of definition of a table and database, you will get to know the username, and whether it is public, private, that and all should be specified. Then role name. So by specifying all these, they are granting a privilege to the object name of a particular user. In the same way, we can take the permission back, that too by making use of a revoke command. It is also one of the DCL command. Mainly, it is going to remove the permission if they are granted to the user on the database object. If it is granted to the user, then if you wanted to take that or to remove that permission, then we are going to use this DCL command, that is what, revoke command, and it takes away or revokes the rights of the user. Whatever the rights they had earlier by making use of a grant permission or a grant command, with the help of this revoke command, we can revoke it or we can take it away. And also, if access for a user is removed, for example, you just imagine person X. So, that person had a permission, but by making use of this revoke command, they had removed all the accessing of that particular user. Then all the specific permission provided by that user to other. This X had given some permission or rights to person Y. If I am revoking the permission of this X, then that is directly will going to remove the permission from this Y2. That is what you have to remember here, so that whenever we had given the permission provided to that user to other user will be removed. Next, what we have, if decentralized access is used, if it is not controlled by a particular person, at the time it will be difficult to remove the granted permission. When the grant is centralized, if it is taken care by centralized object, at the time permission can be easily taken. If it is decentralized access is there, at the time revoking of that granted permission is somehow difficult. You can see the syntax here. Instead of grant, here we have to use revoke privilege name on object name. So here from, we should use a from. Why? Because we are taking it back from the username public, and then should specify a role name. So this is how we are going to take the permission back. This is all regarding DCL or a data control language. It's all regarding DCL. Next we'll see about the TCL, that is transaction control language. So the controlling of transaction in a SQL or in a database is very important. Why? Because in order to maintain the consistency of data, controlling of the transaction is important. Transaction is what? Set of activities which is taking place, whether it is inserting of a data, deletion of data, creation of table, all those are transaction that should be consistent in nature. Though I am created a table and if it is taking a same table again, then that is not consistent in nature. So the data whatever we are having in a database should be consistent. In order to maintain the consistency of a database, we have this transaction control language. Mainly if we can use this with a DML commands or a data manipulation language. So there we have a insert, delete, update. So whenever we are updating, we can make a consistency, or we have to include a consistency whenever we are deleting a content, or whenever we are inserting a content to the database. At the time of insertion, deletion and update, at that time maintenance of consistency is important in a database. So that can be maintained with the help of this TCL. So whatever the TCL commands we have in this SQL, that can be used with a DML commands. So here these operations are automatically committed in the database. That's why they cannot be used while creating a tables or dropping them. So at the time of creation of a table and dropping of a table, that is what? Data definition language. With the data definition language, we can't use this TCL commands. So why? Because whenever we are creating or whenever we are dropping that should not be automated. That is what the reason we should not use this TCL commands with a data definition language. And commit and rollback are the two commands which comes under this TCL or a transaction control language. So commit is like control S in the Word document. If you wanted to save all the Word document, then we are going to use control S. So if I wanted to go back to the previous state, then control Z. That is what rollback. We'll see here commit command that is used to save all the transaction to the database. If you wanted to save the transaction, for example, I have a table and I have inserted 5 rows. I am about to insert 6th one, but if I am using this commit command, all the 5 rows whatever we had earlier will going to be saved. Then I am going to insert a 6th row. So if I am not using commit, at the time after 6th record or after the 6th row, the content is not going to be saved. So if I wanted to make it automate, then you can use the commit command. Mainly it is used to save all the transaction to the database, and here we are going to use a syntax only commit, COMMIT semicolon. It is not case sensitive. And then we have an example here, delete from customers where age is equal to 25. So here I am using a delete command. Already you know how delete works, right? Delete from, I have a table name called customer where age is equal to 25. Whoever the customer we have, those age is 25. If their age is 25, we are deleting all those rows. So here after the deletion, I am using a command called commit. So once it got deleted, those who are age is 25, if that particular rows are deleted, then that is going to be saved. That table will going to be saved. Okay. And next we have a rollback. That command is used to undo the transaction that have not already been saved to the database. If I didn't press a commit command, or if I didn't use a commit command, and if I am using this rollback, if it can get back to its previous state, it is like a control Z. Okay. So the command or a syntax is rollback itself. Delete from customer where age is equal to 25. If it got deleted and if I am using rollback, then those are the rows which got deleted by making use of this delete command will be retained back again to the customer table. So here I am not using a commit. If I am not using a commit command here, at the time whatever the rows which has been deleted from this customer table will just get back to the same table again if I am using this rollback command. This is how the transaction can be controlled by making use of this commit and rollback command. We'll see the last one. That's all regarding data query language or a DQL. So in this, mainly it is going to fetch the data from the database. So for that, we are going to use select command. The select command is used to fetch the data, select from or select star. So if we are using a from, then it is going to include only set of columns. If you are using a select star, then all the column will going to be fetched by making use of certain where condition. So this is same as the projection operation of a relational algebra. Mainly it is used to select the attribute. We are selecting the attribute. We are not selecting the rows. We are selecting the columns. Remember, we are selecting the columns, and whatever the values we have in column, by default it is going to arrive. But we are fetching a column or attribute which will be based on the condition described by where class. By making use of this where clause, we are going to give certain condition. Based on that condition, particular column or attribute will going to be fetched. So select expression from. So here I am going to give certain expression, select from, or based on certain expression, select from table. You can include more than one table. So by giving comma, you can separate the table name. Where condition, you can specify the condition. So just imagine, select employee name. What I am taking, you just imagine we have a table called employee. Let me consider EMP. There I have a employee ID and we have a E name. Okay, so these two are the column 1, 2. Let me consider A, B, C, D, E, F. EMP is the name of a table, and employee ID, employee name are the two columns I have, and I have two records or two rows. In their employee ID is 1, their name is ABC, next is 2 and DEF. Okay, so here select employee name from employee where age is greater than 20. What is the condition here? Those employees' age is greater than 20. So there the column age should be there. If their age is greater than 20, then I am retrieving their employee name. Whose age is greater than 20, that particular employee name I am fetching from this employee table. Fine. So let me write here, select E name from employee where employee ID is greater than 1. You just imagine I have one more row. Consider GH. Okay. So select employee name from EMP where employee ID is greater than 1. Who are all the employee we have ID is greater than 1? That is 2 and 3. But what I am fetching? I am fetching their name. So how will be the output now? It is going to give me only one column. That column name is E name. That includes employee called DEF. Why? Because their ID or employee ID is greater than 1 and we have a GH. So this is how select statement will going to work. This is going to give a particular column along with a set of values. That set of values will be taken with the help of where condition. This is how the select command will going to work. What if I wanted to take all the names or all the ID? Let me consider select star from EMP. Select star from EMP. If I am using select star from EMP, at that time all the columns, all the rows will be displayed. If you are using this star, select star from employee where EID greater than 0, at that time all the values, all the columns and rows will going to be displayed. This is how the data query language works. I hope you all understood my today's session. It's all regarding SQL. I hope you all got to know what is SQL and what are the data types we have along with the basic commands. That's all regarding what? DQL. I hope you all understood my today's session. It's all regarding SQL. That means we got to know what is SQL and what are the data types we have in SQL along with the basic commands. You got to know what is DTL and its command, DML, TCl along with a dechiol. So all these you all learned. So in our next session, we're going to start with a chapter 2. That's all regarding what? Internet basics. Let me meet you there. Until that, keep learning, keep on growing. Thank you.